Hey guys, this is Eric with Pixel Rookie, and this is the very first episode of OverCast, a new podcast about streaming and YouTube content creation and tying it in with social good. I'm co-hosting this podcast with Jaywin Trode, the bearded strategist, or better known as Jaywin, and we partner with Over the World. Over the World is a small charity group that works with streamers to host 3 events every year, and all donations received go to a specific charity. On our first episode, we had the chance to speak with the highly esteemed VoiceOverPete. We got to talk about his journey as a content creator, how to maintain a positive community, and about today's current events with the pandemic. With Overcast, all donations received go to a specific charity of our guest's choice, and on this episode, we were able to raise $100 towards St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Over the World is also sponsored by Cyber Gameway. Cyber Gameway specializes in providing streamers, gaming organizations, and Discord communities with exposure and income-generating opportunities. Learn how Cyber Gameway can benefit your stream or organization today by visiting www.sabergameway.com. Without further ado, I hope you can sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode with VoiceOverPete.
Howdy, howdy, gentlemen.
Mr. VoiceOverPete, hey, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
It's a pleasure, doing great. And it's, even though it's a rainy day here in Florida, it's sunny inside.
Beautiful, beautifully said. Well, we really appreciate you coming and joining us today. I know, and I've expressed this before when we spoke briefly, but I know we're a smaller group, and I know you're one of those I consider a big player. So I think it's really cool to have you, take a Saturday afternoon, join us, help support a good cause, and just, help our fans, and then help your fans hopefully learn a little bit more about you as well. So it's really appreciated.
Well, it's my pleasure to meet you guys, and just let's talk about some real stuff today. Let's just get real and see where this goes.
I like that. I think that sounds awesome. So I think the way we were wanting to break it down is kind of for people that know of you but don't know too much about you, or people that don't know about you from other communities that are coming in. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, what you were doing before you got into content creation and how that transitioned. I think for me, I would love to hear a little bit more about that. I'm sure other viewers would too, but we would love to hear, even if it's just a kind of a brief, elevator pitch kind of version of it.
Sure, happy to. You named 3 points. Which one do you want to start on first?
Where did you come before you started doing content creation? What were you doing before that?
Okay, sure. So a number of years ago, not that long ago, I was a sales executive in telecommunications and then in IT solutions. And that was going pretty well, but there was a lot of mergers and acquisitions, and I found myself, at the dance with no chair to sit on when the music stopped. And finally, my son, who's in my videos, came to me and said, Dad, you really ought to try Fiverr and be a freelancer, it's great. I was like, really? Freelancer? So I got on that platform, which shall not be named, and I did pretty good. I got to admit, did pretty good, but I'm like, it's not enough money to pay the bills. Again, my son's like, Dad, you're this big sales guy, do videos. I was like, oh, I'll give it a try. So I did, and within a short amount of time, I blew up, became top-rated sales guy. That went on for about 5 years. And then came that fateful day when some little snot-nosed YouTuber came to me and said, will you please do this script for a meme? I looked at it and I was like, that's pretty funny. Let's give it a go. He put on his YouTube channel and he blew up, right? He got like over 2 million views.
Oh, wow.
On a channel that had 800 subscribers. He blows up at Love and Life. And then all of a sudden my queue on Fiverr blew up and I was cranking out 50 videos a day and I couldn't keep up. Couldn't keep up. Literally, my voice was hoarse morning, noon, and night. I'm not exaggerating. I was like, no way, My wife is like, here, constant stream of hot tea and honey. And it went on for a good month. And then suddenly that fateful day came when my son shows up and he's like, he literally walks into my studio and he's like, Dad, you're banned.
Surprise.
Hi, PJ, how are you? You know, and I'm like, you're kidding. You're totally kidding. Oh, no, Grande, he tweeted about it. Grand who? So I definitely came a long way since that day. But that week then began what I call the perfect storm in YouTube terms, when Pewds goes and does a shout out not once, but twice in the same week. Ninja, he starts, you know, a great little Twitter. Hey, I'll play with you on Fortnite. And Ninja, still waiting, dude. and then even Keemstar's like, oh yeah, I'll take something. Anyway, it was the perfect storm. Within a week, I had 500,000 subscribers. I was like, Woo. Dang, YouTube is so easy. Why didn't I do this before? So with that, my son and I started, and we took off, and it's been fun. It's been a ride. Then, wouldn't you know it, my son gets a job offer from probably one of the largest video production companies in the state of Florida, takes it as a director. And, you know, as the dad, I'm like, Peach, you got to do it. This is an awesome opportunity. As his business partner, I'm like, I am cutting you out of the will. Out of here. You're banned. So it's been a struggle on the YouTube side to kind of replace my son. On the other hand, it's been a lot of fun getting to meet people, getting to know them, and doing all the gaming that I've been doing.
That's awesome.
Definitely. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
I was just wondering, what kind of content creation do you prefer? Do you prefer streaming, or do you prefer like YouTube videos, or what do you prefer the most out of all of them that you've done?
There's pros and cons to both.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You do a gaming video, whatever it is you game, and it's great because it's one and done, right? I mean, there's no real editing because it's live and it goes out on Twitch, Mixer, whatever, YouTube. You do a production video, and there's big advantages because you can literally, you know, write it all out, script, storyboard if you really want to get complicated. My son, he's bringing in $40,000, $50,000 worth of production equipment. This is the way we do it, awesome. Dad. I'm like, oh my God, we got drones flying overhead. You know, we did the. I announced my presidency for the internet.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, about a year ago, and we had drones flying around. We had big cameras walking around, and it was great. But I quickly found on YouTube, production value, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I know a guy who does everything with a cell phone, and he has 5 million subs. I'm like, dude, you're so joking, right? And he goes, no, I just set it right up in my studio, and there it is, and that's it.
I bet a lot of people are like, what's the secret sauce? Can you send it to me?
Here's the way I liken it to my boomer friends. Twitch, YouTube, it's next gen TV. It is. So we all still like TV and the movies we see and the shows that are on there, but this is it. This is a show. This is personality. The audience gets to know you, follow you, certainly some bigger than others, just like TV. But the advantage is it's almost instant interaction.
Oh, yeah.
So on Twitch, Mixer, even YouTube, you can have the chat and you're going back and forth and you have this dialogue sort of going on. You never get that in TV. They're sort of on this unreachable pedestal. And it's like, well, I admire you and all, but man, we get to know great YouTubers, great gamers, and that's pretty sticky. That's pretty nice to have that you'll just never have in TV. That's why this is next generation TV.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, let me ask you this: that transition from, you know, that dreaded day to blowing up, you know, within a very short period of time, what changed for you? Was it stressful to have like that kind of Like for me, I had one video blow up where I got like 1,000 subscribers. I was like, oh, I'm like, that's so much to have like almost nothing to 500,000. Was it overwhelming? Were you able to digest it pretty well and handle that? Can you talk us through like what happens when you get that momentous steamrolling snowball effect?
It's all your point of reference, right? You take everything that you've done in life, accomplished, learned, and you come to this point, wherever this point is for you, for me. And now you're faced with this horizon. And when it comes to the internet, it is infinite.
Oh, yeah.
It is infinite. Talk about galaxies. It's like, you're kidding, right? There's no end to whichever direction you go in. And I felt like when that happened, by the end of the week, I had been dropped into the ocean and told, okay, go swim now. I have no idea which way to swim. And let's face it, there's nobody out there trying to direct or help channel you, or, at least with tips and tricks. And it was overwhelming. It was surreal. It was a sense of kind of a lostness, because I'm like, all right, well, where do I fit here? Whereas always in my corporate career, sales is pretty much defined as you sell, you have a job. You don't sell, you don't have a job. It's very simple.
Oh, yeah.
What am I selling? Oh, that's right over here. And you learn. And, with the internet, man, it's undefined on purpose.
It's the Wild West, man.
In many regards, it is. And yet, all too well, when you get on YouTube, we have defined it. And we've all been burned by the definition of how they interpret what it is they wrote. Right? So that's another story, another time. Yeah, it's been one big learning experience after another.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like and I'm sure Jaywin could agree, every time I release a video, or I don't stream hardly ever, but I learn something new from my like stupid mistakes. And it's always like, next time.
Yeah, always improving. No matter how far you are or who your audience is, there's always things that you can improve.
I went to Vid Summit this past fall, and when we could still travel, right? And the keynote speaker was Mr. Beast.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets up there. I'm going to save you guys $2,000. He gets up there, and he says, he boiled it down to the simple. He reduced to the ridiculous, and I love that, because he says, guys, this really isn't rocket science. It's super simple. Here it is. YouTube wants eyeballs. If you give them eyeballs, they will give you views. That was it. He simply says, develop your video and your channel in such a way that people want to come back again and again. I mean, when you're like, oh yeah, that's like stupid. It's so simple, right? But doing it is another story, and yet he's done it. And yet he's done it.
Right.
He even went through the whole process of how to create a thumbnail, and how there's even iterations within your thumbnail, within your title, to the thumbnail. And pretty much until his video comes out, he's still even tweaking thumbnails.
Oh, yeah. Very
so
cool.
even though you start over here with a big idea or a laundry list of big ideas, and then you begin to bring them to fruition, the whole thing is still a morphing, kind of growing process to where you get to launch date.
Yeah, it's like you're sculpting, having that continual progression to sculpt a masterpiece, but it never actually gets to the final outcome. It's continual progression.
Yep.
So one question that I wanted to ask you before we get into further discussion about current events and things like that is why did you choose St. Jude's for your charity?
Yeah, it's a good question. That impressed me right from the start, that so many good charities really take really partner with YouTubers and gamers. And that was one surprise I didn't expect as I got to know into the community and learn who's who in the zoo. And when I saw that, I was like, that takes a great degree of maturity to have people of notoriety come together and really embrace a charity. Because you go out right back in the corporate world, and the corporation says, "Oh, we're hand in hand with whatever the charity is," and you're like, "Well, you're just punching a little tick box that says, see how we care. We care about such and such a charity," whether they do or don't. But when a content creator gamer goes ahead, pours his heart and soul, and those people, in my mind, that comes to the first thought is like a Dr. Lupo. He's done great work with St. Jude's. Jacksepticeye, he's done great work. And there's so many others that I'm sure you guys know and respect. Markiplier. And I look at those guys and I get, you know what? They truly believe what they're preaching, and it communicates. And I'm like, I can get on board with that. And then I began to learn more about St. Jude's. It's starting way back when with a guy named Marlo Thomas was the daughter. And it's been a 50-year run of just a high integrity, working with kids who have cancer, and who can't get behind that? Danny Thomas. That was it. Danny Thomas. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, St. Jude's, big believer in them.
Cool. Well, I appreciate that. And as a content creator, I wanted to get into doing charity streams, charity events, things like that. And from what I've seen of you, it seems like you do a lot of that, which is really cool. Do you have advice, or how would you get into that or get started? Is there a specific like events you would recommend? Is it just kind of, hey, throw a stream together, pick a good cause, use Tiltify? What are your thoughts on that? And what advice would you have for me or other people that are interested?
Tiltify is just another platform to help enable that kind of exchange. So you and I, we don't want to take monies.
Exactly.
We don't need money to eat, It's like, I cringe at that thought. But Tiltify, another stand-up organization, I'm sure there's a minor transaction fee, but fine. They're doing a good work. Everything is up and up. Everything's public. We know exactly who gave what, and I love all that. So nobody questions about, where that money went. So I like that. As a creator gamer, I like that. So I believe in Tiltify. When I was at TwitchCon, I met the guys. They're solid guys. And it seems like a lot of the streamers that I respect use Tiltify. I'm like, all right, good. They're a solid platform. A lot of guys have checked them out and said, yep, they're good. So I believe in Tiltify. Get to know it. They integrate very well. I use Streamlabs OBS, integrate seamlessly into Streamlabs as well as I know OBS. So get your arms around that. And then St. Jude, it seems like always something is going on. It makes sense that they are always trying to have quarterly fundraisers for this and that. And a lot of gamers come up with ideas of, we're going to help them out and do this. So, my encouragement to you guys is, if your heart is saying, okay, it's time, I'd like to do something, do it. And I will say, if you can band together with others to get that groundswell of interest and support, it's even better than just the one guy out there waving his flag. Hey, charity. I
certainly
like if a charity event drive like Team Trees. I mean, I think the world knew about Team Trees.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. It was. And kudos to Mr. Beast for doing all that. But the window was like a 2.5 month window. And I thought, yeah, let's do the charity the whole time. Every time I stream, there you go. You guys want to give? Great. The players, they're solid. Here's how you can do it. And it's up to them, your fans, your friends, to say, yeah, I'll step up. Here's $1, $10, $100, whatever they could do.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. It's great to hear that you're doing so many charities and stuff. And honestly, yeah, I've hopped into your stream before, and I've seen that you always have that.
You were that one lurker.
I was that lurker. But you always have your donations, and you're always doing things for charity, and that's something that I really applaud. And that's something that, because people need to be able to have that awareness, to be able to know that there is good stuff going on out there, because in the world today, there's too much negativity. There's too much struggle. There's too many hardships. And that kind of goes into what like we wanted to talk about today is like this huge crisis that we're dealing with right now. Like,
Yep.
what kind of things do you feel, I guess, that you want to make aware to people? Because some people are just kind of in the dark about it, that they're just scared out of their minds.
That ties into to your channel, I think, very, very well. Knowing what you're not is a big step forward to knowing who you are. So we all can think of all sorts of channels that are toxic, that are negative, that are just ridden with drama. Fill in the blank. So I've decided, I am not those things. I'm a guy very comfortable in my skin. People call me, oh, you're a boomer. Guess what? I am a boomer, zoomer, boomer. Try to keep up. But I'm going to be the guy who says, all right, I'm not going this way. I'm the guy standing right here saying, let's be positive. Because with chaos, here's a truism, guys, friend to friend. With chaos comes opportunity. And it sounds like an oxymoron. It sounds the opposite. With chaos comes opportunity. It was very, very true, believe it or not, in sales. When there was all sorts of mergers and acquisitions, it actually presented opportunities. And so it is with our country. And right now, I call them random acts of kindness. You may just call them some good news, but you hear about these stories where people have just come out of the woodwork and did something for a neighbor, for a grandma, for a shut-in, for this person or that person. And they just did some random act of kindness. And like, there you go. I can support that. I can talk about that. And let's be that kind of community instead of the other community that's throwing stones and drama and he said, she said, and it's like, stop. Not interested.
Definitely. Yeah. So that, and I think that's a great way to like brand your channel as almost identity. I think that's just a part of the foundation of it. And I think that's really commendable and cool as well. Cause it's like, yeah, you definitely see certain communities and people, tossing slurs and being hateful to be, like funny. And I was young. I used to do stuff in a similar way. And it's like, but if you as, especially for your scale, I think people tend to see these gaming communities and look up to people. So almost like a role model. And, to create that just rule up front that, this is how we do things. Love others. Don't like tear people down. Build each other up. Like, I think that's such a good thing to teach people because, there's a lot of access to internet, maybe not as much parental moderation, and kids can go on and find whatever. And that turns people into kind of little rotten turds, I'd say sometimes. And then when you have that and you get older and that's your norm, then people can be pretty rotten. So I think it's really cool to see, communities, especially the bigger communities, the big players and bigger players that have that mindset. So yeah, I appreciate you, sharing kind of that thought process around it. I think that's really nice.
Mm-hmm. There's plenty of darkness on the internet. Let's be, I want to say, can't we just be the light side, the light on the internet, right?
Yeah. There's got to be a balance, right?
There does. You'd like to think.
Well, that's kind of what you were talking about before, that like amidst all the chaos, like we can bring a lot of good.
We can.
And I feel like there's so much toxicity and negativity out in the world today. And people don't want that when they come home and they want to watch or relax when they're watching their favorite content creators, or whether they just want to be able to just enjoy somebody playing a chill game, like being able to have a positive and a stress-free environment is really important for people just trying to relax and just be able to get away from the negativity of the world.
Exactly. And here we are at a time in the world's history, not just our nation's history, where it's like, okay, we're all facing a quarantine, a restriction of some kind. We go to this world, virtual world, we game, we want to have fun, we want to have an outlet, we want to socialize virtually. And last night I finally, thank you, Jesus, got my key to Valorant.
Ah,
playing Valorant.
I have yet to get that.
I'm total noob. Oh, I had like 20 windows open. They're all playing.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a key. And so I got in. I started playing, and probably the second game with the group of guys I was with, we beat them, and on the third game they beat us. And fine, they shot me, killed me, and the guy came over and teabagged me. And I'm like, dude, really?
You're like, please don't turn this game into one of those toxic games too.
Whatever.
There's so many games that are just, you just know that the communities are very toxic, so you just kind of stay away from them. I'm not
Exactly.
going to name those games, but I'm sure plenty of people will be able to
We've all been there, done
recognize. Yeah. So I guess we're going to be seeing you streaming Valorant now. Sounds good. Kind of going back to the quarantine, what kind of things are you doing during the quarantine, like this whole chaos quarantine, to be able to help, I guess, to be able to help you keep sane? Because I know a lot of people are struggling, and I always tell my community, like, hey, be sure to reach out to your extroverted friends. I know they're probably really struggling right now. And I'm not joking, but like serious.
Dead serious. One advantage I have over probably most is I have had a home office.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about it for about 20 years. So I'm kind of used to the routine of, this is where I make everything happen, good or bad, it's all on my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So right away, I've set up a routine. It's flexible, but for the most part, it's a routine where we get up, we do what we do, and get things done. I go to the gym. I come back here, take care of messages, whatever admin work or errands I have to do. Great. Have lunch. And then by then, so I encourage everybody, get a routine. It can be flexible, but you get that routine, and it better have exercise. Okay. I've seen some of you on camera. Better have exercise first and foremost. Second, definitely have your social network. And it's okay to do stuff like this. This is fine. But I'm telling you, I ride my bike also around my area. I'll do about 10 miles a day. And I am amazed at how we went from a handful of walkers and joggers to there's got to be like 50 people out there, walking, jogging, taking their dogs out 20 times a day. So great. Take advantage of it. Get out there. I saw recently these little driveway get-togethers. They're bringing bottles of wine and beer, but that's okay. They're socializing in a responsible way. So get out and socialize is all I'm saying. Get out, socialize. So you have your schedule. Get out, socialize virtually or physically in a respected manner. And then lastly, do some things that you can feel a sense of accomplishment. So, as a homeowner, I've got plenty of things to keep me busy here and there and there and there. Still, there's other things. Are you guys readers? Well, read some books, accomplish a few of those things that you're like, oh, I really want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. So the enemy of accomplishing things is procrastination. So take that enemy out of the equation. Do it.
That beast hits me on a very personal level. I've been always a procrastinator in my life, so I can definitely feel for that one. Another question I have is, from that socialization aspect, and from the impression I get is that you're pretty integrated with your family, and you seem like you do a lot with your family. Has this quarantine impacted you in a way that you're not able to see them as much? Not at all? Do you have to do things remotely? What has that done with your family aspect of your life?
Yeah, good question. I have one son that lives local, another son that lives in Colorado. I normally see my Colorado son, 2, 3 times, 4 times a year. Haven't been able to see him. Even though airline fares are like, here, please fly. We'll pay you to fly. I'm like, yes, I want to fly. So I can't go and see him. My other son, we did a local lockdown in the area and haven't been able to see him for 2 weeks. Probably could on the side, but I'm like, we stay in touch, virtually. So that's good.
Yeah.
Take advantage. I tell everybody, take advantage of FaceTime or Zoom or Skype, but something where you can go ahead and say hi to grandma and grandpa, say hi to aunt and uncle and your cousins. Do it.
Yeah.
If not now, hello, when?
Right.
The zombie apocalypse is here. Do it.
And I feel that that's really important to be able to actually, like, there's a lot of people that don't know, that aren't very technologically savvy. And I feel it's really important to be able to especially reach out to them and help them know that there are all of these options available to be able to get that social interaction that you need.
Fill up that cup.
Yeah, because it's like getting your battery repowered, like everybody needs some social interaction, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. Like you need some sort of social interaction, whether it be playing video games or whether it be going and actually hanging out with friends or getting outside and riding a bike or running or watching a movie or whatever. Like everybody needs it, but in their own way. But I feel like there are a lot of people out there that struggle because they don't know kind of what is available. Like when you say Zoom, a lot of people are probably like, what is Zoom?
Really? Serious?
Yeah. Like I know if I mention to a lot of people that I know, my family's more of the like, they don't really like technology. They're more of the hardworking class. And if you're not hardworking, then you are like a menace to society, like that kind of people. But like they look at what I do and then they're like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. And I'm just all like, I help people. I'm like, and honestly, it helps me too, because I get the social interaction that I need. But I'm also an introvert. I'm not like the rest of my family. My family really likes to go and talk to people, and I like to talk to people just in a different way.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's really important to be able to get that information out there so that people know that there are options available, especially in this time with the quarantine and the lockdown, and who knows when it's actually going to end. Like we don't know.
Pete, I do have another question for you. This is kind of related, a little veering off the topic, but during quarantine, and I feel like Valorant might take the cake, but what has been your favorite game to, either stream or do videos on? It seems like you do a lot of variety, which I think is cool. I saw you were playing Minecraft Dungeons, regular Minecraft, lots of stuff. So if you had to pick one that would be your favorite, what do you think that would be?
My favorite game of all time is the game that I cut my teeth on, and that is the Halo series.
Respectable.
I am, oh my gosh. I bought the Xbox 360 for my sons one Christmas, and, without knowing what are these games, I happened to get Halo. And so there we are playing Halo, and it wasn't long before I'm like, all right, go to bed. It's time for bed. I got to play this game. Get out of here. So I loved Halo, and Halo to me, it just is the Master Chief is the iconic hero of heroes. And let's finish. How does he say that? Finish the fight. I mean, he just
man, a few words, but very powerful words. Yeah,
but he gets things done.
Cortana, she's the virtual wife, girlfriend. You're like, oh yes, she loves you so much. And they're like, oh, just pull it on me. I'm still crying over Halo Reach. I'm still there. I'm still,
that was so good.
Come on, bring it. So
yeah.
The Halos, and then I can't wait for the end of the year with Halo Infinite. And it's either going to make the series or break the series. It's going to do one or the other.
Well, and I feel like that's pretty much how it is when they keep coming out with more and more. You're like, I hope that it keeps continuing to be good, but they could ruin it.
I don't know if you guys play Gears of War, but that was my baby in college. I remember chainsawing a locust for the first time, and like my roommates, we were like going crazy and screaming. And then I played Gears Judgment, and I was just like, okay, I think I might be done. So, it can go either way. You never know. But yeah, the Halo trilogy Reach, I only got up to a little bit of Halo 4, but they're all great games. I mean,
if you missed 5, you missed nothing.
Do you play multiplayer, or are you in it for the story?
Oh, I love campaign. Campaign is the story that I think glues it. So when you get into multiplayer, battle royale type scenarios, it's all in the light of the backstory. Oh, we're part of this great big, in Halo's sense, you're part of this universal battle, right? And that the lines are real clear. It's not gray. There's bad guys, aliens. There's good guys, Spartans, and it's real clear. We like that. I like that. I think back to, when kids used to play cowboys and Indians.
Just in space this time.
So anyway, you asked me the question about what's my favorite game. So that's my all-time favorite game. But I will say what was surprising was Minecraft. And not that the game itself blocks and blockheads. What? I really did. I looked at it. I'm like, you're joking, right?
Most people feel that way.
You're joking. But what I found is, no. Well, it's kind of cool to build this and that, and look at what I did, which is cool. It's the community, the online community. And so when I got on SMP Live, and there's Carson, there's Schlatt, and Connor, and Captain Sparkles, and so many others, and Venom, and I was like, oh my gosh. It's the community that suddenly it's fun, it's engaging, you want to go again. And then that was the big surprise for me. The aha moment was, oh. And then I went on, I got to play with a guy named Technoblade and Philza and so many others. I'm like, this is awesome. These people are legends. And I'm playing with them. Let's go.
All right.
So, yeah.
I feel like it's just like with working, like coworkers make your work. Like either it's terrible because you're coworkers or it's really fun. Like it's the same thing with gaming. I feel like the communities are a huge part of it.
I know we are getting close to chat questions. I know people want to ask you all the good stuff. I did have one final question for you, and before we jump over to that, but with this event for Over the World, June 21st to the 28th, it's volunteer-based for streamers where they fill up spots. Do you think that might be something that you would even be able to at least consider committing to come the summer for the Wounded Warrior Project charity event that would be going on then?
Yes.
That's awesome.
That weekend is in question. I might have a travel obligation.
Sure.
So I'm kind of balancing. Oh boy, do I do this or do this?
I gotcha. Well, we can talk further on that subject though, and figure it out.
But I'm a believer in Wounded Warrior. I'm a believer in vets.
Now though, we can kind of switch over. I know the people watching, they definitely have questions they probably want to ask you as well. I don't know, sure. Jay, if you have some pulled up that you want to toss.
Yep. I've got a few questions for you to be able to discuss. So the first question is from Mushy SR, and he said, so about your voice acting career, when exactly did it start? Like how old are you? You told us a little bit earlier about how you got into it, but when exactly did it start, and when did you actually feel that that was what you wanted to do?
Good question. Thank you very much for asking. I've always had this interest in movies, and wouldn't that be awesome, to be on a stage someday or a movie someday? I don't know if you guys had that, but I know I certainly did. I will say then in my sales career, I was often the guy who gave the presentations. So I think a lot of my success was because I could stand up in front of a room, take the questions, answer them, present in a compelling way that was like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. We got to go forward with you. So I came from that kind of a good background, a confidence background, that when the opportunity came to now use a voiceover, and I hope you guys understand, there's a big difference between a voiceover, that's what you hear on the radio, and a video, which is what you see on YouTube. Some people, they say, oh, I want, anyway, they confuse the two. So when I go ahead and you do a voiceover, like you'd hear on the radio, I got my official start when I was on the Fiverr platform. And I did well and did a lot of those productions. And if anybody wants to start, which is where I think he was asking that question, you want to get started? I'm not going to put down Fiverr for saying it's a good platform to start. And you could make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month on Fiverr. I'm dead serious. All you need is a decent mic, you need a decent computer, and some audio editing software. And there's free stuff out there. And you can get up and running, and then there's a gazillion hours of free coaching and training out there. So I'd encourage anybody, if you have that interest, hey, you got nothing to lose, go for it.
Right.
Yeah, my experience with radio is a lot of people tell me I have a face for radio, so I think that's a good start. I saw another question. I need to pull it up, but basically they asked, as a father, how do you help teach your kids, about giving? And I will say personally, I have a 5-year-old, I'm a 6-year-old boy. It's not natural. So, but what advice would you give, from your experience?
To all the current dads, parents, and future parents, as a parent, you're learning by the seat of your pants, as well as your son or daughter. First and foremost, nobody came with a handbook when the baby popped out. Here's how you teach me to be, a grown-up. So you look for, I think we talk about, being proactive, and the parent that is proactive looks for teachable moments. And maybe you've heard the phrase or haven't, but the idea is real simple. You come across a real life IRL situation and you look at your son or daughter and you go to yourself, this is a good teachable moment of what to do or what not to do. But even that teachable moment, if you can do it in such a way where they walk away and they have to do this with you. Oh yeah, Dad, Mom, you're right. I do want to do that, or I don't want to do that. Don't run into the street. I don't want to do that. Okay. And as opposed to, oh, I do want to give. So for me, my family, we went to church and I made sure that both my sons definitely gave a portion of their allowance in the offering plate. So right from a young age, that's a good, clear, teachable way. Another way is, oh, your friend doesn't have whatever it is he doesn't have. Why don't you give him some of yours? Not always easy to do when it's a cookie or something special. So, but it begins at that young age of seeing mom and dad. Hey, how are mom and dad sharing with each other? Don't forget, they're watching everything, good and bad.
They won't say what you're teaching them. And as soon as you hit your knee and you say one bad thing, they're screaming it, 10
That's
times
right.
a day.
They
That's
learn
right.
by example. Teach by example is what I.
Yeah.
Exactly correct. The opposite of what my mom used to say. Do what I say. Don't do what I do.
That
Get out of
frustrates me
here.
so much when people do that. I'm just like, no, don't just say, just do it because I said so, or I'm older than you.
Yes. So
what?
exactly. Like that means something.
Yeah. So another question is from the One True Sloth Boss says, how do you deal with haters and trolls on the internet?
If you come in and you start saying things that, it's one thing to be negative or toxic, oh, you're a jerk, blah, blah, blah. But it's another when you start throwing in words and phrases that can violate the terms of service and my partnership. So I have a zero tolerance. If people want to come in and drop the N word and such, boom, you're gone. I actually wish Twitch and YouTube and others, we had a blacklist of, these are known felons. And if they come in your chat, that they're just they can't even come in your chat. They're banned. I wish we did. We don't. But anyway, a zero tolerance, I think, does pay for itself. I think my chat is pretty known to be pretty good vibe. I call it's just family rated. It's PG. It's PG rated. If mom or dad, grandpa or grandma came in the room, you're not going to be like, oh, don't see the screen. You're not going to do that. Oh, yeah.
Family friendly.
That's it. Family friendly. Here it is.
And to that point, I believe if you start that expectation, most of your community starts to adopt that expectation. So when you get those newcomers trying to, stir the pot, I feel like, your community can even help step in and kind of, no. If it's not a bannable offense, but they're kind of teetering towards that. And then usually that steers, I feel like, people away as well, that peer pressure almost. So I think your take on it is very excellent. I think that's a great way to approach that. So
yeah, and at a time when mental health issues are certainly a concern, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna, my head's gonna explode. Can you give me some duct tape to keep it from exploding? So mental health issues are real. We've known some people on the internet, YouTube, that have dealt with it and unfortunately had a tragic ending. So let's have those discussions, but let's not have them in the middle of playing Warzone, okay? There's a time and a place. And so as long as you catch them and say, look, so-and-so, let's have this discussion. I do care, but I'm not a professional. I'll listen because I care for you as a person. But if you're going to take advice from me, I'm not the guy you take advice from. If so, take my advice and see a professional. But if you want a guy to listen, it's been a tough day. All right, I'll be that guy, just not in the middle of this game right now. It's not appropriate.
Look, small follow-up to that. Do you have that frequently where people come in and later on, do you pull people aside on Discord and kind of have that one-on-one time with people that seem to be struggling?
They kind of come in waves.
Sure.
I did a video. I called them Dad Talks, and one of them dealt with suicide. It's a subject I actually didn't want to tackle, but my son encouraged me, Dad, it's real. And I looked in the statistics and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Especially now. Yeah.
It's the number one killer of people under 25. Suicide. It's bigger than murder. So I was like, oh, this is a real situation that we do have to deal with, and not talking about it isn't going to deal with it. So let's put it on the table. Let's talk about it. And we did. And so I got a lot more of people. I'm really struggling with depression. Like, wow, I'm going to take you as serious. So let's take this offline and let's have a serious discussion. But I also quickly found, like many are looking for attention, and they're using suicidal statements to get the attention. And it's like, darn. So I'm not a professional. I don't want to discern which is which here.
Yeah.
If this is serious, let's treat it seriously. If you just want to go ahead and get attention, either way, the safe thing is let's take this off stream and let's have this conversation.
Yeah, you never know what someone is really dealing with. I mean, and they could just be using it to get attention. They could be using it because that's really how they're struggling. So I think that's really important. Just like you said with children, teach by example. Just be able to be the person to be able to help them relax and just chill and calm down. Like whether they want attention or whether they are really struggling and having a hard time, I feel it's really important. Let's see, another question.
If you're searching, I got a quick one. Someone asked, with all this going on, has your coffee intake increased? Ooh. Now, you said you want serious real talk? Oh, yeah. Yep. Now we're getting in it.
I love coffee. I love coffee.
Here's one last quick question before we go for your final statements. Do you ever get artist or performer's block, and how do you deal with it?
By block, what do you mean?
Like, do you ever just feel like not doing it? Feel like not streaming, not performing, not hopping on the channel, not working on a project? Do you ever just have that writer's block kind of thing, performer's block?
Yes and no. So yes, when it comes to YouTube and I'm trying to think of a video, I'm not Mr. Creative. Oh yeah, we should, do this, and you come up with a dude perfect, sort of idea or whatever it is. That's not me. I'll be the guy in it, but that's not me to come up with, oh yeah, and here's how we set all this up. So I do get that kind of a block of what do I do? Sometimes when gaming, I find myself doing this. What do I play? Do I play Valorant today? Do I play Warzone today? Do I play Minecraft today? So I do find some of those. And personally, then what I look at on the game side is, well, who's playing what right now? And if some of the biggies are out there, XQC, Dr. Lupo, whoever it is you've got as some of your gaming favorites, and they're playing, I'll just pick on Valorant. If they're all playing Valorant, that actually opens the door for some other games of interest. Because I can't compete with those guys, and I'm not going to pretend to. So fine, what if I play something that is popular, maybe not as much, but okay, so then I'll go in this direction. Okay, nobody's playing Minecraft? Great, I'll play Minecraft. I'm there. There's a solid community for that. So, but with YouTube, for me, that's been much more of a challenge of not performer's block, but more of the creator block. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I could do this, but where's my editor?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I believe so.
It answered it for me. I don't know about the viewer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. And then one other thing to that point that I've read on, the internet, so it has to be true, but they mentioned, motivation, it fades, but once you build a habit and a routine, that is consistent. So for me, I don't really have as good of a routine, but when I'm not feeling motivated, man, sticking to that habit helps out too. So I think that's.
It does. And I suffer from a problem. I don't mind admitting it. Hi, I'm Pete, and I am a workaholic. I admit it. And it didn't take me long in working at, corporate jobs to realize, wow, I work in part so much because I am just a workaholic. So when I come here and I go, man, I can game, I can make it YouTube video, I can have fun with people from around the world. Dude, why wouldn't I want to do this? This is the best working job. I don't even want to call it work. I get paid, thank God, and I could use more. But this is awesome. What an awesome opportunity. So I feel you. I hear you on those days. You're like, I don't want to turn it on. I'm just the opposite. I'm like, What do you mean I got to go eat? I'm having fun in here. We're nay-naying those noobs. Come on.
What is food? Yeah, I feel it's important. Like you mentioned depression earlier. I feel it's important that when you are having those moments, that's the time when you need to do it. And when you do it, then you're going to enjoy it. You're going to have fun. It's going to get you out of that funk.
Sweet dopamine fixes, right?
Because you know what makes you happy, but when you're feeling depressed or when you're feeling down, I feel like it's really important to do those things that do bring you joy, You might not feel like getting on Minecraft, but if you hop on Minecraft, you're going to have fun.
That's tough. I actually have some family members that go down the rabbit hole of darkness. And all of a sudden it's nothing is right and nobody can do anything right and the world is coming to an end. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? This, that's not true. And so you got to kind of help pull them back out of this rabbit hole. And but I feel for that person who doesn't have somebody there who they're accountable to, and they can reach out and just say, oh my gosh, help. I feel like the ship is sinking and I don't know what to do. I feel for alone. Those people. I do. And those people more than anybody, they need some accountability person. Where if I go ahead and I reach out to you and I say, look, it's a tough day for me. Can you help me? And I can trust you that you're going to have my confidence, and I share things like that with you, and it doesn't go beyond that. So it's great if you're in that type of person to have accountability people you can trust and have confidence in. And man, that's solid. That's solid.
Very much. That's why I said earlier, you got to reach out to your extroverted friends or everybody during this time.
Everybody. Everybody.
So do you have any kind of final remarks as to what you want to let everybody know? Either struggling content creators that are wanting to be able to do well or enjoy it, like, because I know a lot of people are just kind of stuck in a rut. And is there anything that you want everybody to know?
Here's the good news about the quarantine. It's a reset. And it's a reset for everybody. I don't care who you are, the big streamer with the big numbers, the big YouTuber, Pewds, I know you're lurking. So whoever you are, it's a reset, because never in the history of the world have we had anything like this on this scale. There's been plagues and wars, but nothing like this, because we can also communicate in a way that never before have we been able to communicate during such a worldwide crisis. Okay, so like I said in the beginning, chaos breeds opportunity. So with a reset, we now have opportunity. Okay, we're all at the same table. The playing field is even for the most part. So now is the opportunity to do some things that you haven't done. What is that? To the new YouTubers and people that want to, I've never done a video blog, start it. I've never done a channel, start it. Oh, but what if nobody likes it? So you did it. Have you tried it? Do you know you really like it? Do you know what a commitment it is? Dude, do that. Start it. And give yourself the freedom to fail. That's really important key. I know I've read a lot of books. Many a millionaire has failed and lost everything, only to come back and make it again. Failing is not a bad thing. Failing can be one of the greatest things in your life, because it's going to do one of two things when you fail. It's going to teach you, and think of every athlete you've ever known and respected. Do you think they've always had a victory? No. They had failures every step of their career and their life learning experiences. What not to do and what to do. Same thing, much smaller scale, YouTube, gaming. Okay, you had some success, you had some failures. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and I hope that has a hardening resolve within you to say, I'm going to continue on and I'm going to do it better. That's why I hate to hear that schools have gone a different direction. Oh, nobody can fail. Little Johnny is just going to fall apart. Tough. Let him fall apart. Let him kind of man up, or woman up, as the case may be. And you're going to find a person now of a much stronger character, because they had to be that person. So what do they do during this time? Take advantage of the reset. Start something new that they've never done, wanted to do, just want to try to do. I agree with you guys. Get a routine, but also get somebody you can help be accountable. This is a great opportunity. And I know as we come through the other side of this time, we're going to now have all sorts of stories where somebody just bent over backwards. We didn't even know about so-and-so, but he did this great act of kindness. And you marvel at such integrity, at such love that this person's going to express. So I think this is going to be a movie, hands down. It's going to be a movie. Probably, because it's so dramatic, there's going to be a movie. But what won't be in the movie are these great acts of kindness. It's as simple as you going ahead and you get on that phone and you talk to grandma or grandpa that you haven't spoken to in so long, that you talk to your aunt and uncle, that you talk to your cousin in Timbuktu, and you just haven't communicated with them in years. If you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? If you don't do something like try something to of interest, YouTube, gaming, that you haven't done before, well then, dude, you're going to regret it the rest of your life. And one thing that does plague every person are the regrets. What you didn't do for whatever the reason. Don't make this time in your life one of those moments where, darn, if only I had taken advantage. This is it. This is your time. Take advantage. That's it, boys.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Pete.
Yeah, Pete, really appreciate your time coming on today. Thank you for taking the time, for sharing some of your thoughts. I know for me personally, this was a really awesome opportunity. So thank you.
Yep.
You bet.
Thank you so
You
much.
bet,
And
gentlemen.
honestly, love your advice. Thank you so much. And I hope
You
you have
bet.
a wonderful day.
Thank you. I'll see you in my streams, okay? Valorant.
Yes,
All right.
we'll be there.
See you, Pete.
Have a good one,
Thanks
Pete.
again.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.